And so what ended up happening was they took this particular template, and it is research-based that if you do these particular things in this particular order for your intervention, this is what's considered best practice. So if you look, the beginning sequence, 5 or 10 minutes. You're going to explicitly state that I can. You're going to talk about the standards so that the kids know exactly what they're here for and why they're here to learn it. And then you're going to talk about maybe some previous concepts. You're going to go into vocabulary. You're going to talk about all of those rich things. The next part, these foundational practices, this is like your warm-up. This is going to be a spiraled review. It's going to be a fact fluency check. It's going to be a fun game that somehow reviews something that you've already done. So we're trying to build upon what they already know. The whole point of Tier 2 is to meet kids where they are and help us try to fill in some of those gaps. So that's why we need to make sure that this is part of our instruction every time we have that RTI group. So if you look, this is a choice of the following. You don't have to do a spiral review every day. Please do not do flashcards every single day. What is that going to help? It's really not. If you look at research in the past 10 to 15 years, think about it. We have so much technology. How many things are kids actually required to memorize right now? So we've got to think about that and put it in perspective about how many kids can't learn those memorization, those fact fluency, those multiplication tables. And what is it? What can we do to kind of help them? Because it's a new age for them. If you notice, there's a strategy-based instruction just to kind of help you with fact fluency. So if you want to know exactly what does that look like, what are some different things that I can try? If a kid goes into Tier 2 just for fluency, what are you going to do for 30 minutes? Are you going to do flashcards for 30 minutes? What is there to do? If that's what their skill deficit area is, you're supposed to just work on fluency, right? That computation piece. What are you going to do for 30 minutes? So here are lots of different ideas and strategies for you to work on. So here's the meat of your lesson. This is the part that has to come from that list of vetted resources. So if you are up here thinking about this foundational practices piece, you're going over that spiral review, you're trying to build upon something, that is for you. You are the professional teacher. You dig into your bag of tricks and tools if you want to and come up with those things. But this portion right here, this has to come from that vetted resource list. So your actual skill for the day has to come from one of those resources. I can't emphasize that part enough. That's a difference. Last year, we were able to use this WCS template and say, oh, as long as I do, we do, you do, and I kind of follow this, I can use whatever I want. And so that is not exactly a best practice. We want to give you more resources to be able to do those. So when we look at this, we know that we're looking from the concrete to the pictorial to the abstract, making sure that you use manipulatives, and note that it says in all grade levels. And then the last part, of course, is just putting it into some kind of conceptual problem solving, where it's going to make sense to them. Why do I need to learn this? Where am I going to use this in the real world, kind of a thing. And then, if you notice at the end, 5 minutes just for a wrap up. The closure of your lesson. Typically, this is the part we skip, right? Because we're like, oh, you've got to go. You're already 2 minutes late, right? Go back to class. We got to get going. We got to switch classes. We got to do this. And so this is the part that we skip. But research talks about you reiterating and going back to the beginning.